Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Wizards Beyond Waverly Place Season 3, the final season, the series finale. Not only is this the series finale of the new show Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, but it is now the definitive end to the entire franchise from that of the original series. Unless they decide to make a TV movie to wrap up everything, and they really need to. Okay, so this season, how exactly did we get to this point as fans to where this show should have lasted at least 5 seasons at the most? But it came to a crashing end in season 3, and the last season only had 4 episodes. That's around 20 minutes. No other Disney Channel show has ever done that. Never had that few of episodes and stuff. Something happened. Something crashed and burnt to where the older fans said, screw it, we're not watching no more. And the newer fans just simply did not watch. But like I said before, how exactly as fans did we get here? It shouldn't have been that hard to make a revival show. And one of the original actors, David D. Deluzzi or Delauzi, I'm not sure how to say his last name. He shares fan sentiment. This dude went on Instagram and basically just threw shade at the brand new series. Him throwing shade at the show is kind of weird and bizarre because of a couple of things. All right, now here's the thing, right? He said that if the new show would have had the OGs, it would have done a heck of a lot better. And it would have lasted for a lot longer than 3 seasons. I both agree and I disagree. With everything we know with these 3 seasons, yeah, if you were to add the OGs and have them pop in and out the series, it would have done better. But you gotta stop and think about this. This isn't the original series. They're not kids and teenagers no more. They're adults, and the kids have now moved on. So it would have been one of those hard things. Like, do you revolve around the entire family? How you gonna do that? And they live in 4 different spots. Then you have to include Harper and stuff. So if you would have just brought them back and had it would have been weird. Unless you would have done it to where it's like a TV movie, that will work. It doesn't matter where they're at, you know what I'm saying? But like I said before, everything we know with the whole Billy thing, living with Justin and all this other stuff, and his family, if they would have had the OGs pop in and out, yeah, I think it would have done a heck of a lot better. If you were to take out Justin's family, take out Billy, and just bring back the OGs, it would have never worked. But was this series doomed from the start? I wonder. Now, here's the thing about what David posted, right? Now, it's odd that he threw shade. He sounds a little salty, and at his age, he doesn't need no salt. I say he sounds salty because it's weird. He's nowhere to be found in the 3rd season, his character. Instead, they brought the mom from the original series. Now, here's the crazy thing. He appeared in both the 1st and 2nd season in about 2 or 3 episodes. To write out his disappearance, they just said he turned into a were-skunk. He's now a skunk. I'm wondering, did something happen behind the scenes to where he was written like this? It's weird because here's the thing also. The mom did not appear in the 2nd season. She did in the 1st. He appeared in about 3, like I said before, and she appeared now only in 2 of the revival. I do not think there is no bad blood between the actress who plays the wife and David, because they both follow each other on Instagram. Also, I don't think there's no bad blood between him and the rest of his cast. He went to Selena's wedding. He posted a picture of her not too long ago. But here's the confusing thing. This picture right here, this is the second episode of season 3 because Harper is in it and she's wearing that outfit. Yet David is here in the behind the scenes and everything, but he was never in front of the camera. Why wasn't he in the episode? Now we know him and Jennifer are really good friends and stuff because they had that podcast and they got along very well. He could have just been there to give her support. We also know from the podcast that Selena basically shaded, not shaded, but ghosted the entire cast a couple of years after the show ended. And she only reunited with them when they called her out on it on the podcast. And she does what she does best. She makes like a video or a post and talking about how she's sorry and we should catch up. And of course, that's exactly what happened. They all caught up. They've all reconciled and this and that. And like I said, they all went to her wedding except for Jake T. Austin. I think David Henry might have been out of town. But from what people know, Jake T. Austin wasn't at the wedding and he hasn't been in this show. And so I don't think there's no bad blood between David D and the rest of the cast, but it is weird. He was there for the second episode, but never appeared on screen. So it makes me wonder if he was supposed to, but something just didn't happen. But it's never been confirmed or said that he was supposed to be there. I don't know. But then you had the original creator, Todd, post something a long time ago is talking about Max is really tough and we might just see him in like the third season. Yet Max is nowhere near to be found in the third season. Jake T. Austin is just going through, I guess, the motions or whatever. Dude basically deleted everything off his Instagram. It's still up, but I think there's like nothing posted. He did have that hit and run many years ago. His career has not been the same since. And who knows what's going on with him, you know? And a lot of fans wanted to see him back, especially now since his character is a millionaire and everything, you know? But that's just weird that Todd would post that and then the dude never showed up. Now, there's been a lot of stuff online about Todd technically shading the show. I don't believe that. Because of the simple fact, I can't find no evidence of it. It's probably just people photoshopping it and crap like that. The whole Todd situation is weird because he didn't know that this revival, he sounded like he didn't know this revival was happening and it sounded like he didn't like it. And then next thing you know, when the show started to come out, he started praising it and hyping it. And he has a creative credit, but he never created this show. So it is very iffy about what the heck's been going on behind scenes of this show. So there seems to be an update involving Jake T. Austin, who played Max in the original series. I'm so glad I waited to start working on this video late at night. It seems he was okay. So when I said that he deleted everything from Instagram and it hasn't been on for like months and years, apparently that was a long time ago when I checked that. That was like earlier this year. He has now resurfaced and has posted something saying to the fans, because they've been wondering why wasn't he in the reboot, or not reboot, but the revival spinoff thing. And he said he was 100% on board wanting to come back And he spoke to people a few years ago about returning, but they went in a different direction and they didn't bring him back. So yes, he did want to appear in the show and they said no. Now, the obvious reason that most fans has is because of that hit and run and him spending about a day in jail. However, that hit and run, like, yes, that's serious and everything, but David Henry has literally almost picked a fight with at least two different people in two completely different parking lots. And David Henry had a loaded gun at the airport. Seriously, like, and then they gave him his own show. Like, what the heck? So, but most likely it's because of that hit and run that Disney Channel's are like, nope, we don't want to deal with that. But then what about David Henry and the loaded gun? I mean, my God. So this just doesn't make sense, but I've said this before. Disney Channel will pick and choose who they want to bring back despite having a criminal record. Phil Lewis, the dude who played like the brother in the Sulphur Springs show, the older black man, because he has a criminal record. I forget who else. What's his name? Omar Gooding, who was in the Saturdays, he has a criminal record from when he was a teen in the 90s and stuff, where he almost lost his show hanging with Mr. Cooper, which was on ABC. Of course, that's Disney. So they will pick and choose who they will bring back and not, but then it's weird, those that they don't. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because let's not forget that on that podcast that's no longer available and everything, Jennifer Stone and David D literally found out about the revival the same way everybody else did on the internet. Nobody even called them, so it made it seem like they're not going to appear. Then something must have happened because David D showed up on the show, but Jennifer never showed up. Fans speculated because she's a nurse, she's too busy for that. But she stated online she's willing to come back. But yet nothing flourished until just now. Nothing flourished until fans kept demanding it and stuff. Many people speculated that her and David Henry don't get along in real life because she's always revealing stuff about him on like the podcast. Very interesting stuff, by the way. I don't know if they get along or not, but she did appear in one episode this season, and him and her did have some scenes together. So either the bad blood, if there was any, has been pushed aside or they reconciled, who knows, you know what I'm saying? But it just seems like there's a lot of crap going on behind the scenes that like pretty much doomed this show from the start. But was it ever doomed from the start? I mean, when you go back and you look at the original cast, only 3 of them so far is innocent. The mom who played Teresa has not done anything bad. The actor who played Mason Grayback has done nothing bad. Jennifer technically hasn't done anything in the public eye that is bad, but she revealed on the podcast when she was on that original show as a teenager, she was drinking and going to parties underage. So technically that is bad, but it never made it to the public. So so it's just one of those things. But for the most part, she hasn't done anything horrible, where the rest of the cast have done some stuff. David Henry has done everything from a loaded gun at an airport, almost getting into a fight in a parking lot twice and everything. And like JT Austin, like the hit and run, Selena being Selena with the shadiness and everything, and ghosting people and talking smack online and taking it back. And it was probably just doomed from the start. And then, of course, there's Dan Benson and his brand new job and how he had that one-sided fight with David Henry at the start of this season back in 2024 when he knows very well he can't be on this show. Then, of course, there's David D, which I just found out. There was a picture leak many years ago, but he was still allowed to return to this show. But a lot of people didn't know it. Maybe somebody found it out now and be all like, hey, maybe you shouldn't come back. I don't know what the heck happened. Nobody knows what the heck happened. Maybe a couple of years from now, there'll be a new podcast and we'll find out what the heck is all the drama, if there is any, on this new show. But yes, this is it. 4 stinking episodes. That's not a lot to like finish that major cliffhanger at the end of season 2. Not to mention all the resolved storylines from characters in the past of this show. All these characters who were created for this show, recurring characters, yeah, they are not shown or mentioned in this final season, which makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's like you only got 4 episodes. You can't waste time. You just gotta like get straightforward and go for it. You know what I'm saying? But this show didn't necessarily do that. Like, there's one filler type episode, and it's like, what the heck are you doing? You only got 4 episodes, and your first episode is basically a comedic filler episode. Why would you do that? You're wasting time and everything. Yes, there is plot armor that does, help lead to the big cliffhanger of last season, but it's mostly just a filler comedic episode. Oi, I swear. This season feels very, very rushed, and I'm not surprised. Like, nearly an entire year happened after the end of season 2. And a lot of people speculated, myself included, that this show is canceled. But after that huge cliffhanger, how could you cancel it? Something happened, a mercy save, and they gave it one more season, but only for 4 episodes. My speculation is that either one of the creators or executive producers went to Disney Channel and be like, hey, look, just give us another season. And just to fill on, to resolve what happened at the end of season 2, and that's it. Because for some reason, everybody thought Alex was dead, but she was never dead. And even David Henry had to go online and be all like, people misunderstood the episode. They misunderstood it because people don't watch and people don't listen. It clearly says she went to a demonic dimension. It never said she died and everything. But people are stupid. Now, when it comes to this season, I could tell after that first episode, Disney Channel gave them little to no budget. This is something that's been happening a lot with a lot of networks and streaming. Once they get to that final season, they just don't care no more. And they barely give them a budget. You can tell because there aren't that many like recurring characters of the past. And not only that, but a lot of these characters are background characters. Then once you get into other episodes, it's basically just the main cast and just a few other characters. But in the last 2 episodes, it's mainly just the main cast. This CGI is barely there. They barely do any magic beyond flickering their wand or like teleporting and everything. That's basically it, or shooting like a fireball from your wand, and even that looks terrible. And now when they use their wand and it flickers, see, it's always changing. It changed from the original series, which I missed the flashing, but they changed it now to make it more like smoke, kind of like a Harry Potterish type thing. But now it's more like a flicker and barely any smoke because they just don't have the budget for it. And whenever they teleport, it's all this like smoke that goes poof really big, so it can cover up a lot of stuff because they don't have the budget. Even in like that demonic episode, what was so demonic about it? Like, first is a dream state, then is this. It's just them on an asteroid. Some rocks are around, and the background is black because they kind of look like they're floating in space. That's it. And the asteroid is so small, you can run around the entire thing in just a few seconds. They had no budget, and I feel horrible for them because Disney Channel simply did not care no more. Continuity when it comes to the magic, they might as well just call this a different show. Because fans have been saying for the longest time, magic has changed a lot on this show. A lot of the spells and a lot of the potions and stuff are non existent in this show. Heck, even new stuff they create in this show aren't even shown again. Like, take the main bad guy, right, from season 2 and overall this entire series. He stole everybody's voice at the last episode to trick that ability to coming back, right? But why didn't he just transform himself into somebody? He did that in season 2. He didn't have to steal nobody's voice. And not only that, but when he stole their voices, how did they get them back in the next scene? He never gave them back, but yet now they can all talk. Rushed. And, I don't get it. If Alex, okay, technically we don't know who sent future Harper back in time to write those books and stuff, but whoever it was so powerful they can change back time. Everybody assumed it's Alex. We now know Damien Penwolf is also very powerful. Why couldn't they just change time to make all of this show not happen so they could have stayed with Billy and everything? It's like the writers just never watched the original series or even their own series. Now magic, for some bizarre reason, has been relegated to a wand. They don't do hand magic. But yet you see the main bad guy do both hand magic and wand magic. But not only that, but in the first episode, Billy decided to get rid of her magic because she didn't want to bring the end of the world because she still fears that. Oh, FYI, the whole prophecy of Billy destroying the world, yeah, that ended in season 2. It ended in season 2. when Alex defeated the grandfather. But it's brought back up in the first episode because Billy fears it might happen. So she's having nightmares about it. So what does she do? She breaks her wand and that takes away her magic. No. See, magic is not in your wand. Your wand is like a tool to help project your magic or amplify it and stuff. The magic is within you. We've seen that plenty of times before in both the original series and heck, even in season 1 of this show. It can get absorbed out of you and you can put it back in you. So why do they think the magic is in the wand and if you break the wand, boom, you ain't got no magic? That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. Oh, that just makes me mad because it breaks canon so badly and everything. And not only that, but it's stupid writing. And I don't like stupid writing and stuff. But I feel bad for this cast, man. Like, could you imagine telling your friends and family, hey, you're going to be on the revival of Wizards of Waverly Place, one of the biggest Disney Channel shows of all time. A show to where adults who used to be kids, teenagers, and young adults love this show and still rewatch it. Only for this show to get taken away from you at the end of the third season with only 4 episodes left. I feel bad for them, man, because the cast is awesome and everything. They're solid. They can act. They have great chemistry. Like Giada and Justin and the whole family, they all have chemistry with one another. And so does Billy and Winter and stuff. Like, this should have lasted a heck of a lot longer. We should have grown up with them and everything. And now that's never gonna happen. And I had a feeling the show got canceled because they had shorter episodes in season 2. Then they went on that huge hiatus where it's like they showed some episodes around like October or November or something like that, and then the rest didn't come back to like February or something like that. That was way too long. Then there was the long wait of whether or not it's canceled or renewed and everything. And so as I'm waiting months and months and months and months, I decided to keep checking up on it, and I started to notice something. David Henry, who's one of the main stars of this show, he has another acting job now where he's like a host traveling either around the world or around Italy and everything. I'm all like, dude, why are you on this show and you're on the other show and you're an executive producer on the other show? I'm like, it must be canceled. Then, of course, there is the actress who plays Billy, who is getting older. She's 15 now, and I'm not trying to sound gross or perverted, but she's starting to develop. And I don't follow her because she is underage, and that's nasty and that gross. And there's a bunch of people online reposting her pictures. And let's just say she's in that stage where she knows she's attractive, she knows she's developing, and she's posing. Let's just put it like that. Then there is Mimi. Mimi plays Giada. And Mimi twice posted a picture that was kind of seductive of her just wrapped around in a towel and a towel only. I knew right then and there, yeah, the show is canceled. There ain't no way Disney Channel gonna allow that. They don't care if you're an adult, a teenager, or what. You can be an adult, you just can't be adulting online. So I knew everybody was moving on and everything. And it's so sad because Mimi keeps posting pictures of like her hugging the rest of the cast and the final scene, and it's just, they didn't want this to end. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's messed up. And not only that, but now they're going to get blacklisted from Hollywood because they was on a Disney Channel show. You know how it is with Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. Hollywood wants nothing to do with you. No matter if you can act or not, they just don't want nothing to do with you. Like, take David Henry, right? Yeah, the dude got some screwed up problems in the head, but the dude can act. Does he act beyond this show? No, he's barely been in anything. Selena Gomez's movie career flopped hard to where she took a seat back, started producing stuff, and then finally came back to like acting with Only Murders in the Building and occasional appearances in this show. And she's recently just came back to music and stuff. And then there's the rest of the cast and other shows. Like, you don't see these people beyond that. And it's hard. They have to hustle hard to prove to people that they belong in Hollywood and stuff. And then when they can't, they tend to come back to what made them famous, Disney Channel and Nickelodeon. Because David Henry, if what Jennifer Stone says is true, he really didn't like being on the show and he hated the Justin character. Because the Justin character was a dork and he don't like being portrayed like that. Plus, the show was originally supposed to revolve around him, called The O'Malleys. But then Disney Channel realized boy-led shows don't do well like female-led shows, so they swapped it and made Alex the lead, and apparently that pissed him off. So he's been trying to do other projects. Nothing really came of it. Yeah, he was on How I Met Your Mother, but he had to film all his stuff during the pilot, and he was never really on the show, if you know what I mean. Then apparently on Instagram, he charges people to reenact scenes of him as Justin. So of course he came back to this show, you know. What's her name? Danielle Monet. She was on Victorious. Then she was in those live action Fairly Odd Parents movies. I don't know what she's been doing in between, but now she's back on a spinoff of Victorious. It's hard for these young like Disney and Nickelodeon stars to find work outside of that. You know, even the ones that are more popular, like Christy Carson Romano, Hilary Duff, Miley Cyrus, Raven Simone. Where have you seen them in the past 5, 6 something years? Almost nowhere, or coming back to Disney Channel. So now this cast is going to have that curse on them and everything, because Hollywood is not going to be interested in them only because they were on Disney Channel. Now, just like I said before, this show did kill off a major character from the original series. Not only that, but like, you know, who was this show really made for? See, that's the problem. The creators and the executive producers, like, the creator was the dude from Raven's Home. They didn't even get the original creator or the original writers. Then, of course, Selena Gomez and David Henry were executive producers. Somebody should never ever create again, because this show has a structure problem. It has a format problem. I've been saying that since season 1, and so has everybody else. Somebody played this show way too safe. They mimic the characters of the original series with brand new characters. Why would I want to see duplicates of the original cast with a new face? They should have created brand new character personas and everything. Not only that, but they did play it way too safe. I get they wanted to stretch out the story because it's a mystery, you know what I'm saying? But then they retconned their mystery in the start of season 2, which really pissed fans off. Not only that, but who was this show targeted for? Was it the original fans that are now much older, or is it a brand new generation? This show wants to have its cake and eat it too, but you can't do that. Pick a lane and stay there. Because of the simple fact, so many newer Disney Channel shows aren't doing well because kids aren't really watching broadcast television no more. The older people, when they make these revivals, they want to watch them, but there was a problem. I said the CGI got better in the first 2 seasons, but the story was very juvenile and everything, where you can tell this was intended for kids and everything. Heck, the first monster that appeared in the first episode of the first season of the Beyond show was a flugie, and it looked like this. This is what the monster looked like, this big, cuddly, stuffed animal looking thing. How is that supposed to be scary? Then on Halloween, there's now this new creature that apparently has been around forever and ever. It's called Pumpkin Belly. Pumpkin Belly. This show was intended for kids, but it tried to draw in that older audience. The problem is the kids didn't care, and the older audience all like, why are y'all talking down to us? Then the other problem happened. We wanted to see recurring characters reappear in this show and see what they have been up to. Only problem is they didn't bring nobody back in the first season. So then they realized they made a mistake, and then they did it in the second. But by that time, most of the audience had already left. And then the people they did bring back, people asked, why the heck did you bring these people back? Why did you bring back the talking fish from season 1? Why did you bring back that ghost dude who scares Justin for Halloween? Monotone lady, it was nice to see her because she left after the first season of the original series, but nobody really remembers her and she's not an important character. Mr. Larry Tate came back. All right, we're talking now. The dude was all in the original series. And then they even dedicated an entire episode to him for him to only show up in the last few minutes after they've been talking about him for the entirety of the episode. Then they retconned it by saying Justin idolizes him, but when did you ever truly see him talk to Justin? He interacted with Alex, but there's a problem. Alex can't be on this show because she's on because Selena is on only murders in the building. So that's a huge disconnect. They brought a character like, all right, fine, we cool with this one, but then they barely had him there. And then people been wondering, where's Max? Where's Harper? Where's Mason? Like, we know Max is a millionaire and everything, has a sandwich shop, but that's about it. But where the heck was Harper and everything? And I think it's because there had to have been some bad blood when, like, there just had to be. There had to be bad blood between David and Jennifer. Like, it had to be. Like, it just doesn't explain things. Now, him and Greg Skulkin, who plays Mason, they're great buds and everything. So, question is, if they're such good friends, why didn't he come back? So it's like it was this huge structuring problem. Then they would bring back the original parents, but only for 1 or 2 episodes and per season because they didn't have the money for it. Then there is the whole mystery. The whole Billy situation. Like, from the start, everybody knew Billy was Alex's child. We was just waiting for her to, like, reveal it, you know what I'm saying? And so they kept pushing it off. Makes sense. They want to drag it out. That's fine, but just reveal it at the end of the first season. They didn't, but they almost did. They almost let it slip. And we're like, oh, what was she gonna say? You know what I'm saying? But then they completely retconned it with a memory wipe that just contradicts everything from the first season. And when fans were just kind of like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? Like, Alex was about to say her Billy, you know, and something like love her or something like, or my daughter. And now all of a sudden, none of this exists and no more. And now it's all been retconned to where there was a memory wipe 10 years ago. And it's just like, what? And it's like, well, it's okay, what kind of spell was it? What was so powerful that, like, made everybody forget that Billy was related to Alex and everything? Never explained. Even still now, it's still not explained. What spell was it? How far did this spell go? Like, you know, how was the grandfather able to remember the evil one and everything? Like, none of this stuff has been explained. And you think with 4 episodes left, they would have explained it, but they didn't. And it's frustrating and everything, you know? Then there's, like, you know, the whole, like, the boys and their powers. Why in the world didn't they have powers in the first season? How was Justin able to keep his powers and he's just married to a mortal? Why wasn't his powers taken away? That's against the rules set up in the original series. Then they tried to explain it in some stupid way as to why the boys don't have powers, but then they're giving powers at the end of the season, all because they absorbed either Billy's powers or Sal's Evilini. And it's just kind of like, well, hey, how does that work and everything? And they never explain it. Now the boys are in the competition, but now Billy has to compete against them. That makes no sense. That's not how the rules work. The competition is within that family and that family only. Billy's family separate, and Justin and his kids' family separate. Technically, Billy should be the main wizard by default because she has no brother and sisters. But now they combine them all together, so all three of them have to compete. And then in the second season, Roman's just whizzing through the entire thing because he's the Justin equivalent of the show. And it's just kind of, oh, speaking of which, that does not get resolved in season 3. They just completely forgot about that storyline. They're no longer competing for the main prize. Billy goes back to live with her parents. It's like, it's 4 episodes. You got 4 episodes. You gotta explain this crap. And now they're banking on like a television movie, which they will probably get. But they probably would screw that up and stuff. Like Alex versus Alex made no sense to the rest of the show. Even the original finale made no sense to that of the movie. It can't be this hard, man. And then the thing is, because of crap like that, fans tune out and don't care no more. The fans are so divided over this new show. And the show's not bad. That's the thing. It's fun. It's enjoyable and everything. It's just the people who are creating it have lost their freaking minds. It's like the people who create this show and the people who write it, they spin around for like 30 seconds and then they bang their head up against a brick wall for like an hour and then they start writing. That's the only way I can think of, you know. It has to be something because it's not that hard. I've come up with many solutions that would have made this show so much better. Like when I first reviewed this show, like the whole why Justin like wasn't no longer in charge of WizTech. Like this show should have been either one or two things. This show should have been either Justin and his family, because you can't use Alex because you know she's on another show. Justin and his family, and you know, have his kids do the wizard competition and make it a fun, enjoyable show. Or better yet, and this is the one they really should have went with, just have like, you know, Justin teaching at WizTech, and we get to see a bunch of kids, his kids, Billy, his niece, and a bunch of other kids, you know, and him teaching them how to do magic and stuff. Think of the shenanigans they could get in and all the trouble. Trouble is shenanigans, but you know what I'm saying. That would have been a heck of a lot better. Instead, they went for this big mystery and everything. And they didn't know how to deliver on it. And it was one mystery after another, after another, after another. But the writers weren't capable of giving like a stronger story and everything. So they should have just went with the wacky thing of just having them at WizTech. That would have been so much fun, like a Harry Potter type show. Which, by the way, they do mention Harry Potter by name and stuff. All right, let me burn through these 4 episodes. So I'm not gonna try to take up much more time because I'm just disappointed. Like it's not that so much that I'm mad. I'm just disappointed because this show has so much potential and everything. You know, like with the whole Billy thing. Like for the longest time, we're like, where's her parents at? This show could have revolved around her and her family, and not the Russos. Cause who wants to see a show about Justin? Nobody. But anyway, so let me just get through these episodes real fast. So after the events of the end of season 2, one would assume that everybody would be sad and upset because Alex is in a demon dimension, but everybody just seems to go about their own business, cheerful and all this and that, despite Billy having nightmares and stuff about the family scared to be around her because they're afraid she might open the rift and then destroy the world. That's her nightmare, nothing else. And so people really don't want to upset her, but then all of Alex's stuff gets delivered to their place because she got kicked out of her apartment because she's no longer there. So meaning some time has passed since season 2. And so Alex had like a jacket, a biker jacket. Roman feels like he's gonna put it on to be cool, but then he gets teleported to like a biker bar in the wizard world. Why? Because I don't know why. This is pointless and everything. Justin wants to try to find that of like Alex, so he sticks his head in a bag to get rid of his emotions because his emotions are like, I guess keeping him from focusing. So then he turns into a Vulcan of all things and no longer wants his emotions. Giada has to trick him into putting his head back in the bag and getting his emotions back, but he doesn't want them. That B plot was funny, I'll admit. But back to the A plot. So Billy gets rid of her powers by snapping her wand, and so then the other two, Winter and Milo's all like, what's his name, teleported. They go and find him. He's scared of being in that biker bar, and they have to talk to the other bikers because apparently the jacket that he had on belonged to her dad. So she wants answers because she don't know where her dad is. Nobody knows where he is because they never mentioned where he was at the end of season 2. He's just gone and everything. And so, like, of course, she lies her way in there. They don't like it, and they threaten to vaporize her and everything instead of just telling the truth. Why? Because filler. And so they're all like, if you're really Damien's daughter, summon your herald. Your herald is basically a Patronus, which Winter's all like, oh, so it's like Harry Potter and the Patronus for all the wizards to get pissed and they don't like the name Harry Potter. I like that too. Her herald is a flugy. Why a flugy? Oh, because let's tie back to the first episode of this show, and she summoned a flugy, so that's like her family's like spirit animal. Why isn't it a dragon? Because the last name's Pendragon. Why is it a fluke? Wasting time. Anyway, so they're like, oh, so you are his daughter, because he said if you ever come, we should give you this teddy bear. Thought their memory was supposed to be white, but I guess it came back after the necklace got open. But anyway, they give them like a teddy bear because he put a secret message in the teddy bear. Now, the question is, how did she summon her flugy if she doesn't have no powers? Well, it's revealed in the next episode that somehow the powers just decided to go into Winter. Why? Winter was never there. How did it get inside Winter? Nobody knows. These people don't know how to write. So every time Winter sneezes, she duplicates herself. Why? Because stupid writing. Anyway, so they have Milo transform into a teddy bear so he can talk to the other teddy bear. No, a stuffed animal. So he can talk to the teddy bear because apparently that's the only way you can talk to a stuffed animal. Why not use the spell to make it come alive? Because the writers never watched the original series. He finds out what it says, and then he gets into an argument with it, and apparently over politics. Now, I have been speculating about that because there are 2 of the stars' politics I'm pretty sure I know of, and the other 2 I speculate, and they're on opposite sides of the aisle. Maybe there's been some bickering in real life. I don't know. Maybe this is meta. Anyway, it turns out that Billy's dad is in prison. Wizard prison, Wizatad, no, Alcatraz, or Wizatad, I don't know, something similar to that. It's like, it's a big prison you can't escape from, but Silas Evelini was able to. Speaking of which, so, Billy's dad, who's black, is just in prison, huh? Disney Channel? So that's how you got rid of him? You put him in prison, the black man in prison? Okay, I see how racist y'all want to get. Oh boy, so they need to break in. So they decide to get Silas and everything. And we get the return of Silas Evilini, who, of course, is going to betray them because he's evil like that. And so they hop inside the pendant. He gets rearrested, and now they're in the prison and everything. It's shenanigans, shenanigans, shenanigans. Of course, Silas betrays them and everything, but Billy finds her dad because apparently magic doesn't work there because there's a scrambler. But in order to unscramble it, you have to turn it off. Anyways, her dad recognizes her from like just somehow, even though it's been 10 years. She said like he hasn't seen her. Oh, I skipped an episode. Crap. I'll get back into that episode, second episode later. This is the third episode. So she tells him, I haven't seen you since I was 5. It's been 10 years. And like, I've been doing some bad stuff. And he tells her how him and Alex stripped down naked one time and did something, but nobody wanted to hear that story. So of course they break out of there and everything, you know? Yeah, her black father is like, yeah, in prison. In prison. In prison, Disney Channel. That's how you get rid of her father. Alex decided to keep her daughter safe. She's just gonna mind wipe everybody. But for Damien to keep everybody's his daughter safe, he decides to get away from his father by going to prison. Stupid writing. But let me get back to the second episode because I completely skipped that. Okay, so the first episode was like a kiddie episode, so it doesn't scare people. And the second episode is like nostalgia bait. So we finally get to have the Harper and Mason episode, right? And so Alex is in that demon dimension, but she's in her apartment for some reason. And she knows she's dreaming. She just woke up, but she's starting to forget her memories. Harper shows up, and Harper's being all Harper and everything, right? Then Harper thinks that Mason is coming over to propose. And then Giada comes and Justin comes because Giada is now his girlfriend. My dreams came true and Harper got pissed at Justin for dating a redhead. So I'm like, really? A redhead? Who just so happens to kind of look like me and everything. Now, here's the thing. None of them are real. They're just dream versions inside Alex's head. They didn't have the budget for that demonic dimension and they needed something a little friendly and everything. And they need to save a budget. I guess they still have Alex's apartment, so they just used that. Harper locks Alex in the room because Harper's just being Harper and the whole Mason proposal thing. After Justin leaves and everything, Alex escapes and Mason comes over. He's all concerned. And so Alex thinks he's about to propose, but then all of a sudden he's like, I can't propose to you. And don't you remember why? Her memories are starting to float back. And she says, because you're dead. This is the real Mason. He's just a ghost. He came from the underworld to in between worlds and everything where Alex is stuck in. But Alex is about to die if she doesn't get out of there and go back to the demon dimension. This was a shocker to find out Mason died off screen and everything. They don't explain how, they don't explain when, but I had to do some math, so here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna need a little bit more screen room and everything, so I had to take my border off. So I think I truly now have figured out like when Mason died, when Alice got married, and the whole Billy, how long she's been alive and how old she should technically really be. This show has never given us a definitive year of what year Wizards of Waverly Place takes place, but we know for a fact the show came out in 2024 and has ended in 2026. Normally shows like this are parallel to the real world. So let's just say that in season 1 of Beyond, Billy is around 12 or 13 years old. That has been established by that of the show and everything. However, the math ain't mathing and everything, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going by what the show says. So she was born in January of 2014. So she should be around 12 or 13-ish when the show first started, right? And in season 2 and 3, she's the same age of like 14 and everything. Now, Billy tells her father, I haven't seen you since I was 5 years old. And so, like, Alex and both Damien both said that, our family hasn't been together for 10 years. So, if I'm doing the math correctly and everything, then that means so she was around 5-ish or so when the whole memory wipe thing happened. I gotta assume that because of the simple fact she says she hasn't seen her dad since she was 5. However, the actress who played her didn't really look 5, but let's just say she was 5. Now, does that mean that after her father went away when she was 5, her and Alex decided to live together until they did the memory wipe? Or did Alex do the memory wipe right away? Let's just assume it was right away because of the whole peril that their lives were in, and she had to keep Billy hidden. So, if Wizards of Waverly Place came out in 2007 and ended in 2012, and the Alex versus Alex TV special that came out after the series finale was in 2013, and if Billy is technically 12-13 in the first season of Beyond, then that means Mason would have had to have died in the year of 2013. Meaning that at some point in time, moments after Alex versus Alex, he died. Alex moved on and rebounded with Damien getting married in 2013. And then having Billy in 2014 the next year. Alex would have been 20 years old. Her and Damien would have been married for technically 13 years, but they only spent 3 years together and 10 years apart. However, when you do the math and everything, technically Billy should only be around 10 years old in season 1, but for whatever reason it's stated that she is 12 or 13 because they did the math wrong. But yeah, Mason died around 2013. This is like shocking, man. It was just a gut punch. This is like, wait, what? And they never explain what. And that's because the 3rd season writing is extremely rushed. And I mean, it is rushed with tons of plot armor. But like I said before, I will break it down later on today and everything. But I'm just shocked and surprised the dude is dead and everything. And she rebounded fast. But yeah, now as for Harper, like I said, we don't know what the heck is going on with her because the real Harper never showed up. And if you're wondering why a dream-like Harper showed up and not a dream-like Mason, is because Mason, who was in the underworld, said he was allowed to travel between worlds and get Alex out of this dream world before she permanently dies and everything. So he had to send her back to that demon dimension so her family can rescue her and everything. So yeah, that's that and everything. He snaps his fingers and she's back in that demon dimension, which is just the lowest budgeted thing I ever seen. But there's somebody in a cloak who's watching her. Who? Well, okay, now we're getting into like the fourth episode. Justin somehow got teleported to that demon dimension because Roman and I think what's the name, Winter did something stupid with magic and science. So anyway, he's there with Alex. And so that thing in the cloak is just a dummy. One that Alex created to like scare away the creatures. We never see the creatures. But the question is, where's the main bad guy? Where's Pinwolf at? He went there with Alex, so technically he should be on that asteroid with her. He is there. So the question is, why didn't he ever try to get rid of her before? It's never explained because the writers are stupid. And so, like, Alex is sending messages back to the real world. So, like, I guess, like, the family can find her, this and that, right? And so, in order to get them out, a powerful wizard has to open up a rift and get them out. Here's the thing. Why can't Billy do it? She got her magic back because Justin gave it back to her and everything. And it went inside her wand and not inside her. That's not how magic works. But for whatever reason, she just can't do it for whatever strange reason. Don't even attempt. I don't know why. She has her magic back. So, apparently Damien is very powerful. So he's going to open it up. So we get the lamest wizard battle ever where Alex and Justin are just running scared and Pinwolf is just shooting flames at them. It's awkward, the CGI is weird, and it makes me uninterested. The rift opens and they run inside it. Then after that, we get a very touching scene with Alex and that of Damien. They are finally reunited after 10 years and stuff. After being married for 13 in total. They don't kiss. I thought they was going to kiss. They just hug and embrace each other. Selena used to kiss people back on the original show, but I think she doesn't like doing that no more because one, she's married. I can respect that. Two, the person who did kiss her in the original series stuck his tongue down her throat and she got pissed. I think she was dating a Jonas-Brothers at the time or something like that. So, no kissing for her. And I can respect that. But it is a nice touching scene between Damien, Billy, and that of Alex. They all say their goodbyes. Winter's all like, man, I can't believe I'm not going to see you no more. Because technically Alex and Damien live in the wizarding world. Which is weird because of the simple fact. What made Alex want to leave the wizarding world and go live in the human world and then later take care of Billy when supposedly back then she had her memories of Billy before he got retconned? Never explained. And so Teresa, the mom. Earlier in the episode, Giada contacted Teresa via phone chat and, she's all like, what's wrong? And then they all like, nothing. So she doesn't even, her and Jerry have no idea Alex is in a demon dimension. They never told her. So anyways, Evil Dude somehow comes out the rift. How? It's never explained. Now they say a powerful wizard. He is a powerful wizard. Why didn't he then just escape off screen? It's the stupid writing. Anyway, he steals everybody's voices and he freezes everybody and then somehow they get their voices back. But he doesn't give them back. And so now they're like, let's whip out our wands and defeat him. And that's the only thing we have to do. And there's no talk of the prophecy or whatever. So the whole family is about to blast him. By the way, Winter is now gone. After Winter said her goodbye, she ain't in the episode no more. They're about to blast him. He's about to blast them. Only for Billy to jump in between. He's all like, no, we're family and we stick together. Only for the bad grandfather to be all like, screw that. I'm going to kill y'all anyway. So he blasts all of them, but then something happens. A force field surrounds their body and then projects his energy blast back to him, vaporizing him and turning him into ash. How exactly? Oh, and before that, Teresa just comes in and bops him in the head with a vase. She came in through the back because she had a key. Why didn't she go through the front? When people have a key to your house, they come through the front, not the back. You go through the back, look like you're trying to break in. And it's plot armor because she came in when he was originally going to blast them and everything. But then anyway, force field, he gets vaporized, he's dead. So Billy saved her grandfather for nothing. And then she's all like, it's over. It's finally over, with a happy smile. And I'm all like, well, hold up now. You wanted your grandfather to live just a few seconds ago. But now all of a sudden you're happy he's dead. Make up your mind. Oh, and I said this last year, and I'm going to say it again. Why is Billy's grandfather, Damien's father, white? Like, he's played by a white actor. And I've never understood that. I assumed Damien was going to be mixed, but he's as black as they come. Dude is like, you can even tell he's white by his hair. Like that long, shimmering red hair. Even though it's a wig. I don't understand the casting process of Hollywood. Like, I really don't. They knew for the longest time her dad was black. Cast a black dude. What, would there have been too many black people on the show? I mean, technically you don't know what race he is because he has makeup and prosthetics on. So I guess the only villains of Wizards Beyond are the black people. Salas. Now the grandfather, Damien, used to be a bad boy. So I guess only the black folks are bad. I guess that's their way of making it up for not having too many black folks in the original series. Then the episode ends with them at the sub stop, eating food and everything, and talking about how they have to stay in touch with one another, and everybody's wondering how the heck did the force field go around them, and they didn't have their wands. And Teresa says the power of family and everything, which of course Alex like, I'm gonna throw up because you said that. And everything. And that's now it. It's over. It's finally over. I hate to sound mean. Like, I really, really do. But the writing was just so bad this season. Like, why did it take so long for them to try to find Alex and Damien? Like, remember when Juliet went missing, when she got taken by that mummy? Justin looked for her every day off screen. Why did it take, like, I don't know if it's been days, weeks, or months, but why did it take so long for them to, like, look for Alex? Why did nobody in the Wizarding world wonder where somebody from the tribunal went and go looking for her? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things that's weird. Like, why was there no mention of Max? Like, Teresa never said, I'm going to get Max and I'm going to come over here and blah, blah. There was no mention of that dude. And it's kind of like makes me wonder if he just given up on Hollywood or if there's bad blood and everything, you know? It's just, it's common sense writing at this point, and this show just said forget it. And where was the emotional weight? There was barely any this season. Alex literally went to a demon dimension. The girl literally just found out that's her mom. Yeah, she was having nightmares, but she wasn't having nightmares worrying about her mom or nothing like that. She was worried about destroying the world. It's almost like this show was too afraid to do that because they were too afraid of hurting little kids' feelings or something, which makes me think this show was intended for kids. People was making better AI art and better AI trailers of season 3 than what season 3 turned out to be. I mean, I get they had a lot of limitations and stuff because, you know, Disney screwed them over, but they screwed themselves by writing such a cookie cutter type show. It was just too safe. And somebody thought it was a brilliant idea to basically make this a carbon copy of like the original series. I am so disappointed. You have no idea. The potential wasted, the stupidity that happened all throughout like this season. And I hate saying that because it sounds mean, but it's the truth. This season was just all right. Like it wasn't like horrible by no means. It could have been some fun filler episodes if it had more episodes. But this was your last season. This was your last season to wrap everything up. This was your last season to be grandiose, spectacular, go out with a bang, but y'all went out with a fizzle and everything. And I don't understand that. And then Disney Channel didn't do them no favors by not giving them a budget. And the cast can actually act. This is what pisses me off. I want to see more adventures with them. But they literally gave us the Russos 2.0 and nobody asked for that. Nobody wanted clone versions of the original cast. Still to this day, we don't know what the heck Harper is up to. We don't know if she's married, don't know if she has kids, don't know if she's gonna follow in the footsteps of future Harper. We do not know. And if the writers and people and creators are not gonna care, why the heck should I? You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, this show just ended with the original series, and if I was to include this one, it ended in season 2. But that last scene was very, very touching. It's just missing some people. It's missing Jerry. It's missing Max. Why wasn't Jerry on the show? Like, what the heck happened behind the scenes? I'm waiting for a brand new podcast. I'm waiting for a brand new podcast. I'm waiting for somebody to spill the beans on social media. I'm waiting for somebody to have a rant and just start ranting. I want to know what happened. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.